Hello everyone and welcome back to Freedom Through Confidence. My name is Ben, and in this video today we're going to be talking about how to remove insecurities in your life. Now, whether it is insecurity in a relationship, in your place of work, or whatever it is, insecurities are a huge pain in the ass, and they can really ruin your life when they spin out of control. So in this video today, I'm going to be sharing with you some simple advice for how to get rid of your insecurities, how to bring those insecurities under control so that you can start living with more confidence and start to create the life of your dreams. So just to be clear, what exactly is an insecurity? Well, an insecurity is the feeling that you are not good enough. And that could be on a global scale, or it could be you are not good enough as a partner, you are not good enough as an employee, as a boss, as a father, as a son, as a brother, whatever it is. And the really good news about insecurities is that everyone gets them from time to time, and they are perfectly normal things to experience. Insecurities only really become a problem when they start to control your life, and when they start to spin out of your control, that can lead to a lot of problems. So how do we stop that from happening? How do we learn how to control our insecurities or get rid of them altogether if we can? And I want to share with you one very simple concept that I have shared on this channel before, but not really dedicated too much time to it. And that is the concept of metacognition, or thinking about thinking. And this is something that I learned about years ago in a totally random lecture when I was studying for my psychology degree. I don't see a whole lot of people talking about this, but through this process of metacognition over the past few years, I've been able to work with getting rid of my insecurities and anxieties, reducing my negative thoughts, and so much more. So I know that this is going to be a powerful tool that you will be able to start using from today in order to start removing insecurities from your life. So the thing to realize about insecure thoughts is that they are exactly that. They are only your thoughts. And the idea of thinking about how you think is that you have two minds, as it were. You have the thinker and you have the observer. Now, the thinker is the part of your mind that generates thoughts automatically, and the observer is the part of your mind that views those thoughts. It's the part that observes them. And to give you a quick example of this, I'm sure you have had situations where a completely random thought pops into your mind. Let's say, for example, you are just walking down the street and you see a woman walking her dog, and just a random thought pops into your mind and wonders if there is an alternative universe where the dog is walking the woman instead. And you immediately think, well, that was a pretty weird thought to have. Well, right there is a pretty good example of metacognition, thinking about thinking, because your mind has generated this automatic, weird and random thought, and your response to that is you view that thought and categorized it as, well, that was weird. And that's pretty much how it can work for insecurity as well. It's viewing thoughts as what they are, which is simply thoughts. Now, is it easy to start to separate yourself into being the observer more than the thinker? Not all the time. So when you have insecure thoughts, when you have negative thoughts of any kind, most of the time they are being automatically generated by the thinker. So the part of your mind that is just churning out thoughts like a factory. And most of the time we identify with what those thoughts are. We have a thought or an insecurity that pops up that says, I'm stupid, and we identify with that thought. We believe that thought is who we are, when in fact that thought is nothing more than a random electrical impulse firing in your brain. And what you want to do instead is tap into the observer side of your mind, and to be able to look at that thought that is saying, I'm stupid. And to be able to look at that from a neutral standpoint, to see it and recognize it for what it is, just a random electrical impulse that will go from your mind as quickly as it appeared. Now, is it always as easy as that to separate the thinker from the observer? I'm afraid it's not, because we have spent almost our entire lives just habitually following the flow of our own thoughts and identifying with our thoughts as us. So the two things that I would recommend to really help you to start to inhabit the observer more than the thinker is to, first of all, keep a thought journal. You don't have to write down every single thought that you have for the rest of your life, but set aside some time every day where you just write down what your thoughts are. You don't edit them in any way, you just write down the thoughts that come into your mind. Or if you remember some of the negative thoughts that came into your mind throughout the day or during the week, write them down as well. If you do this for a week, you're going to start to recognize patterns and loops that are appearing in your thoughts almost every single day. And when you start to identify those thoughts that are coming up more often, that is when you are going to start to build that awareness that actually these are just thoughts and I'm not actually creating these. These are automatic, they are coming up from the thinker. But if you can learn not to follow those thoughts, not to identify them as you, and to just observe them and say, yeah, that's a thought, then you're not going to be putting any meaning on that thought. And if your thought has no meaning, it's not going to have any emotion attached to it. And if it's got no emotion attached to it, whatever that insecure thought is, it is going to vanish as quickly as it came up. And the other thing that you can do to help yourself along this journey is to start practicing mindfulness. And mindfulness is simply observing what is happening right now. And specifically, I'm talking about becoming mindfully aware of your thoughts. Just sitting down in a comfortable, quiet place where you're not going to be disturbed and just watching the flow of your thoughts go by. Of course, you're going to find yourself occasionally following the flow of those thoughts, but if you recognize what is happening, then you can pull yourself back into just observing what those thoughts are. The idea isn't to be perfect and to just be able to observe those thoughts totally 100% of the time. Rather, the idea is that you will be able to more easily identify when you're just following the flow of your thoughts and be able to bring yourself back to being the observer and back to recognizing that those thoughts are only thoughts. The idea of mindfulness isn't to get perfect at it, it's just to be a little bit better than you were before. And that is how you rob your insecure thoughts of their meaning. You rob them of that emotional charge. And ultimately, that is how you get rid of your insecurities altogether. Now, if you do want to know more about how to create more confidence in your life, then make sure you check out this video right here, which is all about how to improve your emotional intelligence, or you can check out this video right here, which will be the latest upload on the channel. But otherwise, thank you very much for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I wish you the best of luck on your journey to creating a life of confidence for yourself and building the life of your dreams.